Julio. Since it's not a ton of us right now, feel free to like stop me if you have any questions or anything, or even if you have any like recommendations or feedback on the presentation or anything that pops out at you that you want to learn more about, just let me know, and I can literally just go through everything with you. So, go back. My name's Barrington Campbell. I'm a technical artist at Unity, and I work in the graphics research and development org and for the team. You might be asking what technical artist is. John and I were going back and forth kind of explaining what it is. Technical artist plays many different roles. And I actually wanted to go online and kind of find a picture that encapsulates what a technical artist does. And yeah, it's a lot of different things. Specifically for me, my focus as a technical artist is in tools. And to give you like an idea what a tools programmer is, or a technical artist tools programmer is, say for example, you wake up early in the morning and you want to go make some breakfast, maybe like pancakes or something. You go to flip your pancakes and you realize you don't have a spatula or anything to actually flip it. So it's kind of my job to like go back, see where your workflow issues are, and find a way to create that spatula for you to do whatever you need it to do, which is flipping pancakes. Some other things I work in or work on as a technical artist is shaders. So basically pushing pixels, doing material work, workflows R&D, and this workflows and R&D kind of combine tools and shaders together because I need to know what's the best pipeline, again, like what John was saying, pipeline and workflows for our teams and our users. So to kind of bring this all together in one sentence, a technical artist bridges the gap between tech and art. All right, so my journey to Unity, like most of you, I started at college. For me, I went to Rochester Institute of Technology in upstate New York, but it's not what college that you go to that's important. What's really key is what you do while you're getting your education, while you're at that college. So immediately I started working with other people, trying to find ways to create games and get my name out there and to learn and hone my skills. After that, I went and presented to Intel, the showcase, which is out in GDC, where I met John and a couple other ambassadors of Unity, and also networking too, which is really key. Then I looked to advance, get out there, do more. So I landed an internship with 20th Century Fox, working on their James Cameron MMO RPG mobile game. That is a mouthful. Also as a tools and graphics engineer. But that real world experience helped me a ton, and I took a lot away from that. So after this, you'll mostly hear people say, oh, at the end of the main goal is to get that real world experience and you'll advance from there. For me, I think it's important to get that experience, but to go back to the beginning of your journey and improve on it. So when I went back to college, to school after the internship, I took everything that I learned and built off of it, creating more games, creating more experiences, more interactive media that I can show people. I continued to present it. Again, I came back to the Intel Showcase, this time with a better game and with more people who I've worked with. I also networked even more. It's important that your network, well, let me say this. Your network cannot be too big. You can never have a network that's too huge. You need to always be networking because you never know where that network's going to get you. You never know when you might need to rely on someone in your network to get a job or help you get through a hard time. So always network. And that's basically how I got to Unity. A quick short journey. So there's a common cycle here. And it starts with creating. You need to create, you need to hone your skills. You need to take things that you've learned, take action, and use them. And after that, you need to go out and present. Showcase what you've learned, showcase what you created. Creation is great, but when you don't have the chance to show to others to get feedback on what you're doing, you're kind of hindering yourself in that case. Network. Again, your network cannot be too big. You're always in a position that you need to network. And lastly, advance, improve, find the next level to go on, or find a way to take what you've learned and be better and do better things. So all of that landed me an internship at Unity. Now, at the time, I was talking to a couple of my friends, and they were telling me about all these internships at big name companies like Google and YouTube and Snapchat, where as an intern, you were given grunt work. You were given work that wasn't going to be a part of the end product or would never actually ship. And I assumed that Unity would be somewhat similar because Unity is actually a pretty big name in the gaming industry. So when I came into Unity, ready to hit that first part of my cycle, which is to create, I went to my manager, who at the time sat me down, and we talked together, and I assumed, and I asked her, what would you like me to work on? So again, my assumption was she would give me a list of like intern qualified work or intern specific work that really would not be a part of the end product. And to my surprise, she asked me, what do you want to work on? And at this time, a light bulb switched in my head. It was basically a paradigm shift that I realized that at Unity, your work matters. No matter if you're an intern, no matter if you're in HR, no matter if you're in logistics, at the end of the day, the work that you put into Unity will be a part of the end product, which makes the whole company better. So I started creating. So the first thing I worked on was a simple sizing gizmo. This gizmo allows our users to determine where they're placing their terrains, how large, how wide their terrains are, and gives them the ability to change different displays and views. So really simple, good way to start. After that, I looked to advance even further, so I created an eyedropper. This eyedropper is similar to your Photoshop eyedropper, where it allows you to pick terrain layers on the scene and then paint with them. The problem here, we saw that users were having a lot of struggle and restrictions with going in between the scene and an inspector. And they would lose a lot of time when it came to painting on terrains. So this sped up the workflow greatly. The next thing I worked on was a heat map. So a heat map visualization allowed our users to see how high they're painting. It gives them altitude visualization. So basically, one of the problems users were having is they were trying to sculpt certain mountain features, and they realized they had no reference to how high those features were. And this could be a huge problem if you're making real-world games or any game in general. You need to know how high, what you're referencing, where you're placing mountains in order to create some beautiful landscapes. Now, with all the tools that I create, I try to make sure that I'm empowering the users as much as possible. So here is an example of me changing the levels of the heat map visualization, as well as the colors. Again, I'm empowering the users to make it or change anything that they want to do in order to improve their workflow as much as possible. And I'll let this play through. Other things is I also keep in mind that not all of our users are from the same place, and not all of our users use these tools the same way. So something as simple as being able to determine if you're using meters versus feet can greatly help users from all around the world and globally. So again, the next part of the cycle, after you've gone through creating, it's important to present what you've done and what you've created. So at Unity, I had many opportunities to present my work to users. Here's an example, the Unity user group, which is comprised of both professionals and hobbyists who use Unity. This user group is specifically located in Seattle, but there's always opportunities to go out of Seattle and present some of the work that you've done. after presenting to that group, I wanted to go bigger and badder. So I had the chance to actually write a public blog post. And within the public blog post, I was able to create content to showcase our users. And that's another thing that I really loved about Unity, is you're not only creating the tools, you're not even only just developing, you're also making the content with these tools to showcase to users too. In this case, you're kind of your own evangelist of your work. Now, the third part of the cycle is networking. Networking is huge, and networking was extremely fun at Unity because I had like-minded peers around me. Here you can see a couple examples of me and my fellow interns out going for dinner. We went for Hot Pot at the bottom. If you haven't been to Hot Pot, yo, you gotta go. It's really good. On the left side, we went to an escape room. That was a great experience. We lost. I am salty about it, but next time we're gonna win, hopefully. And then after you network with your peers, after you network with your teammates, the last part of the cycle is advancing. So for me, it was pretty simple. After an intern, I knew what I wanted to do next was be full-time. So you might be asking, what exactly is the difference between being an intern and being a full-time employee? And the funny thing is, nothing has really changed. Everything's basically the same. Like I said before, no matter who you are or what you do, you'll be treated like full-time. Your work that you'll do will be a part of the end product. Be it that I do have more responsibilities now that I am full-time, there's still a lot that I'm getting out of it. And the transition from being an intern from full-time was nothing like outrageous or out of the ordinary. So yeah, that's a quick run through of me being a tech artist at Unity. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask away. Whoa, that was super quick.
Thanks for that, Barrington.
Gracias.
I'm afraid I don't have many questions because I've kind of been through the same process as you. I guess, yeah, no, you talked about extra responsibility being full-time now. Did it feel like a big shift? Is it more stressful? What are those extra responsibilities?
Yeah, so it wasn't a huge shift, only because I'm still working on the same tools that I worked on as an intern. Again, like you were saying, yes, there's more responsibilities, and it is a little bit more stressful due to those responsibilities. And I might be in a different position than other interns. So when I was interning at Unity, there was roughly around 10 to 15 people also working on the same tool. I would say closer to 10. But since they're working on something new and I'm still working on the same tool, there's a lot less people, which gives me more responsibilities as a guardian of that tool. So yes, there's more stress from that, but I still have the same responsibilities that I would have had as an intern.
Cool.
That's a good question.
I think we have a question in the chat from Elizabeth, who says, hi, how can I get started building tools and plugins?
Oh, awesome. Good question. So there's a couple ways you can do this. If you haven't used Unity before, I'd recommend just jumping into Unity and going through tutorials. There's tutorials on making tools in the inspector view. That's where I would start, just learning how to do different simple tools like, I don't know, a file name changing tool that you can create that changes names of files in your project. The other thing is being able to have a lot of examples of tools that people need, and being able to work through that is really a key skill to have. So if you go on forums and you ask people, oh, what problems are you guys having in your project? Or what ways can I help you? What ways can I solve your issues? You'll be surprised how many tools people will need, how many solutions they're looking for. And then you can actually help them by making those and learn from that process. But yeah, usually just start out, look for tutorials and find some problems that you need solved in your problem, in your projects. For more,
Oh,
okay.
we also have a question from Tommy XY. What network can I get into for more opportunities in the field?
Oof. So as a technical artist, there is, so one, I would recommend looking for any groups near you, any like, for example, this is a really good group, a Unity ambassadorship group that Isaac's hosting. Definitely recommend groups like that. Look for game development groups in the area, go to meetups, just anything that's close to your area. And then look abroad, look for like Unity events like Unite LA, GDC, all these events that are being hosted that are great networking opportunities. Highly recommend. But starting small is usually easier, and you'll get a lot from that because you'll get people who are near you who you can work with. And then outside of that, look for like forums. Forums are huge. Forums, like if you want to be a technical artist, I believe it's techart.org, is a really good forum that you should join in and just find different networking opportunities from there, help people out, and learn from others that are also doing things that you're trying to do.
Yeah, I think it very much.
Yep.
Oh, sorry,
go ahead.
guys.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to add to that. Yeah, I think it very much. It's kind of, you touched on it. It depends where you are in the world, because people in America and people here in the UK, we're very fortunate to have quite a lot of in-person physical events. And to the people that have those events, and they are across the world, there are Unity groups everywhere, but they're not always close to people. If you can attend those in-person events, would highly recommend that. But as you said, Barrington, there's also really good places online to kind of get in contact with other technical artists, especially in those early stages where you're probably just going to be working on personal projects and practicing. Going to those forums and asking for feedback is a great way to upskill and also do that kind of first bit of networking. And then outside of that, kind of putting your work up on social media, Twitter and maybe ArtStation and these other places where they can gain traction, may lead to opportunities down the line. We live in a really great time now where people can work completely remotely in a different country and even in a different time zone. So you can get connected to opportunities that maybe are outside of your country.
Yeah, completely agree. Social media is definitely a great tool to use, especially when you're trying to network or even get your stuff out there. Again, like presenting your work is key. And you'll be surprised how many people will engage with you from just posting on social media. But yeah, that's a great tip, John. Isaac asked, what did you learn and achieve at Unity? Good question. So I learned a lot of different things. I think one thing that I took away from it, and I would recommend for others to not do, is to wait to ask questions. When you get in a position that you're curious and you don't know how to answer or solve something, it's okay to ask your manager or mentor. I feel like it's common for interns or people who are juniors to try to figure out everything by themselves and not actually go look for help or seek help. And an issue with that is you're making that timeline that you could be solving other issues. You're like pushing that away. Or let me restate that. Basically, instead of having help solving that issue, you're struggling. You're wasting like 2 weeks trying to solve that issue when you could have asked someone, got some feedback, and you could have had it solved in like a day or two. So instead of wasting those 2 weeks, you could have had it done in a day or two, and you will learn from that experience. But now you're spending all this time trying to solve it that you could be spending, doing other things or working on other projects. So that's a big thing that I've learned. Don't be afraid to just ask if you're stuck, because you'll be surprised how simple an answer might be to solve that problem or issue you're having. So, and then what did I achieve? I think my biggest achievement was actually the blog post. So that was a pain to finish for me. I had like 3 weeks I'm not like extremely talented when it comes to making content, so I had to learn how to do that from scratch. There are people that help at Unity, but everyone was extremely busy at the time because of GDC. Actually, no, sorry, SIGGRAPH, because of SIGGRAPH. So I had to do most of the work all by myself, and I believe it came out really good, and I would definitely say that's one of my achievements and something that I can share with others. After I was done with my internship, now I can point to a website so people can see the work that I've done. So that's one of my achievements. Yeah, John's posting all the good stuff. Real-time VFX is really good too. Highly recommend. The people on there are so kind and nice and willing to help. It's crazy. So who runs that? I know he works at Riot.
I don't know off the top of my head. But that does remind me actually. Forums are, I think, really great for this sort of content when stuff can move slower. But in 2020, a lot of people like to use Discord and other faster means of communication, more casual things. On Discord, you will find tons and tons of individual little gaming communities with different little specialisms. I joined, do you guys know Vocaloids, where you can make synths with different, you can make like, so it's like a synthesizer that sings, you know, like Hatsune Miku is like a computer, right? Anyway, there's like, when I wanted to learn that, I went down the rabbit hole of finding the Discord where I could actually ask people in real time these really simple questions, which a forum post really doesn't suit well to. So some Discords off the top of my head. Actually, it really depends. I'm very much from the artist background, and I can recommend things like the Dynasty Empire, and there's other ones that I can't remember, the Flipped Normals Discord. And then there's also other ones like the official Unity Discord where you can ask questions and stuff. I don't know if you know of any Barrington.
So I'm not crazy on Discord, but yeah, the official Unity Discord's really good. There's a lot of like materials, and my girlfriend's huge on Discord. Like that's all she does. She goes, there's tons of groups that like have very experienced people who are in the industry who are willing to like give you resume reviews and look through your work and give you critiques. And like John's saying, it's like so open. Everyone's just so open to answering questions, and it doesn't feel as formal too because it's Discord. Like you can throw up a message anytime and someone's gonna reply. So